When you picture getting in shape, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For most of us, it's probably, high intensity workouts, lots of sweating, maybe even a little bit of punishment, right? Well, today we're going to dig into a really powerful idea that challenges all of that. We're focusing on what might just be the most underrated health tool we all have. Yeah, just let that sink in for a second. Walking is enough. Have you ever felt that? Like, a simple walk just doesn't count as a real workout? That for it to matter, you have to be totally breathless and sore the next day? Well, this simple statement, it's the foundation for a whole new way of thinking about our health and our energy. So, to kick things off, let's totally rethink what we even mean by exercise. Because in our crazy, busy, often sit down all day lives, we need a new definition of movement, one that's actually going to serve us for the long haul. Okay, look at this comparison. It really says it all. For way too long, a lot of us have been stuck in that punishment mindset on the left. Exercise is something you do to earn your food or to try and change how you look. But the whole idea here is to shift to the sustainability mindset on the right. Movement becomes about building energy, creating resilience, and keeping our joints healthy so we can live a long, capable life. And this right here, this is the core philosophy. This isn't about hitting some crazy performance goal or proving how tough you are. The goal is just to be functional, to be able to move through your life with energy and without pain. So the point is, movement is a tool for living, not some test you have to pass. All right, so if walking is the foundation, what makes it so special? Well, as we're about to see, this simple everyday act has some absolutely incredible science-backed superpowers that honestly almost always get overlooked. No, really, think about that for a second. We tend to think of our genes as this fixed blueprint we're stuck with. But what if a simple daily habit could actually change how those genes get expressed? That's right. Research from Harvard Health actually found that walking has a direct line to our genetic predispositions. This is so much more than just burning calories. This is you communicating with your own biology on a super fundamental level. I mean, that is an absolutely profound discovery. Okay, now let's look at another surprising superpower, and it's all about this number, 60%. And this one has nothing to do with physical health, but everything to do with what's going on upstairs in your brain. Yep, according to a Stanford study, just getting up and walking can boost your creative output by 60% on average. It's like a cognitive unlock, basically a performance enhancer for your brain. So next time you're stuck on a problem, the answer might not be to sit there and think harder. It might be to get up and take a walk. I just love this phrase because it's so easy to remember, and it's completely true. See, the cartilage in your joints doesn't have its own blood supply. It gets all its nutrients from this fluid that circulates only when you move. So that gentle squish and release you get from walking, that is literally feeding and lubricating your joints, helping to prevent pain and arthritis later on. Now, beyond the physical stuff, walking is one of the most sophisticated tools we have for managing our minds. It's an incredibly powerful way to reset your nervous system, especially if you're in a high-stress job like teaching. Okay, this is so cool. Walking isn't just clearing your head. It's a full-on biological hack. First, the rhythmic motion stimulates something called the vagus nerve, which basically sends a signal to your body that it's safe to chill out. Second, as the world moves past you, neurobiologists call that optic flow, it actually quiets down the amygdala, your brain's fear center. And third, it helps balance out your brain's go and stop chemicals. It's a total system reset. And this is exactly why it matters so much. For anyone in a high-stress job, a short walk isn't some luxury. It's a strategic tool. It is probably the fastest way to shift from that reactive, overwhelmed feeling back to a calm, focused state where you can actually respond thoughtfully instead of just reacting to the chaos of the day. So we've covered the why walking is so amazing. Now let's talk about the how. What's a realistic target we can shoot for that gives us all these benefits without feeling totally overwhelming? First things first, forget the pressure of hitting 10,000 steps. All the research is pointing to 8,000 steps as the real sweet spot. Hitting this number gives you a massive 50% lower risk of mortality compared to someone getting just 4,000 steps. It's where you get the biggest bang for your buck for longevity, and it's way more achievable for most of us. And you are probably way closer to that number than you think. especially for people in active jobs, like teachers. The steps you take just doing your daily tasks add up fast. Moving around the classroom, walking the yard on duty, a few trips back and forth to the photocopier. All that stuff accumulates. You're likely getting a huge head start on that 8,000-step goal without even trying. And we can be really strategic about it. There's this idea of habit stacking, just anchoring a little walk to something you already do. So you've got the copier lab. Every time you go to the copier, just take the long way around. Or the transition trek. While your students are packing up, you do a quick lap around the room. These are tiny little actions that make adding steps totally frictionless. Okay, this brings us to the final and I think the most crucial part of all of this, the mindset. Because honestly, without the right mindset, even the best strategies are going to fall apart when life gets messy. Just think about this for a minute. We get so obsessed with tracking metrics, right? The distance, the speed, the number of steps. But what if we shifted our focus? What if we just tracked the act of showing up for ourselves, even if it's just for a few minutes? And this is where this brilliant idea of movement snacks comes in. A 2-minute walk down the hall, that's a win. That's a movement snack. Taking the stairs instead of the elevator, that's a win. These little bursts break up all that sitting time, and crucially, they all add up. They all count. So, if you take one thing away from all this, let it be this. It is not about one heroic, super intense workout once a week. It's about the small, consistent, sustainable things you can weave into the fabric of your everyday life. That is what builds real health that lasts. And this might be the most compassionate and effective rule for building a habit that actually sticks. Look, life is going to happen. You are going to miss a day. The key is to not let one missed day turn into two. This one simple rule helps you avoid that all-or-nothing trap and keeps the momentum going without demanding that you be perfect. Let's just end on this thought. We pour so much of ourselves into our work, our families, our projects. What if we reframed walking, not as another chore on the to-do list, but as a foundational act of daily care for our own long-term well-being? That might be the most important project you ever take on.